Let me be brutally honest with you for a second. Something is quietly ruining your dating life, and you probably do not even see it happening. Most guys think they are failing because they are not tall enough, rich enough, or good-looking enough. They think the spark fades because the girl just lost interest out of nowhere. But that is a lie. The hard truth is that modern attraction rarely dies face-to-face. It dies silently, painfully, right inside your smartphone. Think about the last time you met someone new. Maybe you gathered the courage to walk up to her at the gym. Maybe you struck up a conversation at a bar. The chemistry was undeniable. She was laughing at your jokes. She actually looked excited when you pulled out your phone to grab her number. You walked away from that interaction feeling like an absolute champion. You got in your car, turned up the music, and thought, I finally figured this out. Then the digital exchange begins. For the first day, everything is golden. You fire off a message, she replies in 3 minutes. She uses emojis. You are matching each other's energy perfectly. But right when you start getting comfortable, a subtle shift happens. The momentum hits an invisible brick wall. Those instant replies turn into 2-hour delays. Her enthusiastic messages shrink into dry, 3-word sentences. Suddenly, you are the one carrying the entire weight of the interaction. Before you know it, you are staring at a message that has been left undelivered since yesterday afternoon. You see her active on social media. You watch her view your stories. Yet your text sits there, ignored in her inbox. This is the exact moment your brain turns against you. You start scrolling up, analyzing every single word you typed. You wonder if you used too many exclamation points. You ask yourself if that last joke came off too aggressive. You debate sending a double text just to bump the conversation back to the top. You feel completely powerless. Listen to me very carefully. You are not losing her because you are a bad guy. You are losing her because you are treating a text thread like a real-life conversation. When you remove vocal tone and facial expressions, all that remains are cold pixels on a screen. Without your physical presence, your messages can instantly be misinterpreted as needy, insecure, or just plain boring. You are playing a completely different game with the wrong set of rules. Today, we are permanently fixing this blind spot. I am going to hand you the exact psychological blueprint to text women effortlessly. You will learn how to build massive tension and make her eagerly wait for your name to light up her phone. Stop whatever you are doing and look at the piece of glass and metal in your hand. I need you to completely brainwash yourself right now. Forget everything you think you know about how digital communication works with women. This is exactly where 90% of men dig their own graves before a first date even happens. They get a phone number and immediately treat that 10-digit code like a blank canvas. They genuinely believe texting is the actual relationship. They sit on their couch, cracking their knuckles, preparing to type out the greatest romance novel of our generation. They think sending a 5-line paragraph explaining their career ambitions will make her swoon. They dive into deep, heavy, philosophical debates about life goals at 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. They treat the keyboard like a stage where they have to perform and prove their absolute worth to a girl they barely know. Let me stop you right there. You cannot construct a brick mansion on top of a wooden bridge. And texting is just a bridge. That is all it will ever be. A bridge is meant to be crossed quickly so you can get to the other side. You do not set up a camp and live on the bridge. When you text a girl all day long, you are pitching a tent in the middle of traffic. Genuine, heart-pounding attraction does not grow through a cellular network. It is physically impossible. Real chemistry happens when she can actually look directly into your eyes. It sparks when she hears the deep, confident resonance of your voice in a crowded room. It builds when she feels your calm, grounded, masculine energy sitting across from her. None of that translates through a blue chat bubble. When you send a massive block of text, she does not see your passion. She sees a guy with way too much free time on his hands. Your phone has one specific job. Its sole purpose is to keep the temperature just warm enough until you can get her in front of you again. It is a logistical tool with a tiny dash of flirtation mixed in. Once you finally hammer this concept into your skull, your entire dating life transforms overnight. The suffocating anxiety completely evaporates. You stop staring at the typing bubble hoping it turns into a message. You stop drafting replies in your notes app just to make sure they sound perfect. You stop overthinking whether you should use an emoji or a period. You finally realize that your ultimate goal is not to entertain this girl for 6 hours straight. Your only mission is to playfully spike her emotions, set up a definite time to meet, and then put the damn phone back in your pocket. Let us talk about the absolute fastest way to bore a woman to tears. I am willing to bet actual money you have done this exact thing in the last week. You finally get her number, the excitement is incredibly high, and then you immediately turn the conversation into a police interrogation. You know exactly what this looks like. You send a text asking how her day is going. She says it was good, but she is tired. You ask her what made her so tired. She tells you work was crazy. You ask her what she does for a living. Stop right there. Look at that exchange. Read it out loud to yourself. What does that sound like? You are not flirting with her. You are conducting an audit. You are extracting raw data from her like you work for the IRS. Questions are not inherently evil. But when your entire strategy is just firing off one logical question after another, you are forcing her to do the heavy lifting. You are making her think. You are turning a fun, exciting new connection into a mandatory homework assignment. Let me tell you a massive secret about female psychology. Absolutely zero women want to feel obligated to reply to a guy. If answering your text messages feels like filling out a clipboard at the dentist office, she is going to vanish. Her brain will literally link your name popping up on her screen with the feeling of a tedious chore. So how do you fix this absolute disaster? You have to completely eliminate the interview mindset right now. You need to replace boring, logical questions with bold, playful assumptions. Let us rewind that exact same scenario. She tells you she just finished a long day at the office. Instead of asking her how her shift went, you make a statement. You type out, "Congratulations on surviving another day of absolute corporate chaos. You seem like the type who definitely needs a 3-day nap and a massive box of pizza right now." Do you feel the massive difference in that energy? It is not a desperate question begging for data. It is a playful tease. It injects actual personality into a completely mundane topic. Now, instead of just stating her job title like a robot, she can actually react to your assumption. She can laugh. She can type back, "Oh my God, you have no idea, I literally want to sleep for a solid week." You just took a dead-end, logical conversation and forced raw emotion into it. Stop asking her for her resume. Start playfully telling her what you observe about her. Make her laugh. You step out of the boring interviewer role, and you transform into a confident guy she actually looks forward to bantering with. Let us shine a massive spotlight on the most pathetic mistake a man can make with a smartphone. This is the ultimate silent killer of attraction. Most guys do not even realize they are committing absolute digital suicide because their brain is in full panic mode. I'm talking about the terrifying fear of dead air. Picture the exact moment. You craft what you think is a flawless, witty text. You hit send. You lock your screen. 10 minutes go by. Half an hour passes. An hour ticks away. You open a social media app and see a little green dot next to her name. You see she just posted a picture of her lunch. But your message? It is sitting there like a ghost in a graveyard. This is the exact second your internal alarms start blaring. Your mind begins running 100 miles an hour. You start sweating. You ask yourself why she is blatantly ignoring you. You wonder if that sarcastic joke was too aggressive. You convince yourself she did not understand your humor. You tell yourself you need to do damage control immediately. And boom, you pull the trigger. You send the dreaded double text. Maybe you shoot over a random TikTok video to casually bump the chat. Maybe you backtrack and say, "I'm just kidding by the way." Maybe you ask a completely unrelated question to force a new topic. Listen to me right now. This is exactly where the dynamic completely shatters. You just took a natural, flowing interaction and turned it incredibly awkward. You are practically screaming through the screen that you are terrified of losing her attention. You are broadcasting pure, unfiltered anxiety. Let me tell you a brutal fact about women. Anxiety is the absolute opposite of masculine confidence. It dries up attraction instantly. You need to permanently drill this into your mind. Silence is never an emergency. Normal human beings have actual lives outside of their phone screens. They leave their devices in the locker room while they lift weights. They turn on Do Not Disturb to finish a massive project at their job. They take a nap on the couch. Sometimes they see your message, smile, and wait to reply until they actually have free time. Sometimes, a long pause is the exact ingredient you need to build massive curiosity. If you drop a flirty compliment and she vanishes for 4 hours, let the tension hang there. Stop desperately trying to fill every single gap in the timeline. Take a deep breath. Toss your phone onto your bed and walk out the front door. Go lift heavy weights. Go build your business. Stop monitoring her activity status like a stalker. High-value men do not wait around for a text. Let us rip the Band-Aid off the most common nice guy trap in modern dating. I'm talking about the endless, exhausting all-day text marathon. You know exactly the routine I am pointing at. You wake up and immediately fire off a good morning text. At noon, you check in to see how her lunch tastes. At night, you send a sweet, predictable goodnight message. You repeat this exact cycle every single day like absolute clockwork. In your head, this strategy feels incredibly productive. You think you are proving your consistency as a reliable man. You truly believe you are building a deep, unbreakable bond by staying constantly plugged into her daily life. But behind the scenes, a quiet disaster is unfolding. The initial excitement of meeting you is completely evaporating. The electric spark is flatlining. Your unpredictable vibe has mutated into repetitive, mind-numbing small talk. Without even realizing it, you have willingly friend-zoned yourself through a keyboard. You are no longer a mysterious romantic prospect. You have officially become her digital diary. You need to understand a fundamental law of human psychology right now. Raw, passionate attraction requires oxygen to survive. It absolutely demands mystery. It needs empty space to grow. If a woman knows your exact coordinates and activities at 9 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 8 at night, there is absolutely nothing left for her to wonder about. You have handed over your entire playbook. You have become completely predictable. And total predictability is the absolute graveyard of sexual tension. Think about your favorite television show. If you knew the exact ending of every single episode before it even started, you would stop watching immediately. The suspense is what keeps you glued to the screen. Women operate the exact same way with men. When you are constantly available to chat, your attention becomes completely worthless. So how do you flip this dynamic upside down? You stop acting like a local weather reporter giving her hourly updates on your mood. Instead of being a permanent fixture in her notifications, you want your name to feel like an exclusive event. You want her heart to physically jump when she finally sees your face light up her lock screen. To achieve this, you dive in, make a massive impact, and get out fast. You have a fun, punchy, intensely flirtatious exchange for 10 solid minutes. You make her laugh. You playfully tease her. And right when the conversation hits its absolute peak, you abruptly cut the cord. You simply tell her you have to get back to the grind and you will catch up later. Then you actually put the device down. You step away. When you finally reappear days later, the dynamic resets. She is genuinely excited to hear from you again. Let us finally break down the exact formula for magnetic, irresistible digital communication. We spent a lot of time tearing down your bad habits. Now it is time to build your actual arsenal. The entire framework of attractive messaging boils down to 2 undeniable pillars. You must master playful energy and absolute energetic mirroring. Let us tackle playfulness first. The vast majority of men try way too hard to sound profoundly impressive. They treat a casual chat like a poetry slam. They drop these heavy, overly serious compliments on a random Thursday morning. Telling a girl she has the most captivating soul you have ever encountered is incredibly weird. It is way too much pressure. True attraction responds to friction. It responds to unapologetic banter. Instead of worshiping her, you need to playfully disqualify her. If she tells you she is an incredible cook, do not praise her. Tell her you will bring a fire extinguisher just in case she burns the kitchen down. If she admits she has a caffeine addiction, tell her she is officially a liability and you cannot be seen with her in public. You are keeping the vibe entirely light. You are actively inviting her to defend herself and chase your validation. Now let us move to the absolute easiest rule to follow. You must mirror her exact level of investment. This is pure common sense, but desperate men ignore it daily. If she is sending you short, punchy, 2-word replies, you do not respond with a massive 6-line paragraph that makes you look completely overinvested. If she takes 3 hours to answer your question, you do not reply in 45 seconds every single time. A conversation only feels comfortable when the rhythm is perfectly balanced. If one person is sprinting and the other is barely walking, the dynamic gets incredibly awkward. Match her pace and the entire interaction flows seamlessly. But what happens when the conversation completely stalls? What do you do when she suddenly goes completely silent for 2 whole days? You absolutely do not send a panic text. You do not ask if you said something offensive. You wait a full 72 hours. Let the dust settle. When you finally reach back out, you send a high-value, low-pressure statement. You tell her you just saw a golden retriever wearing a ridiculous sweater that reminded you of her. It is totally casual. She likes you, she will jump right back in. If she ignores it, you delete her number and walk away with your dignity intact. If you want to completely master these psychological triggers and dominate your dating life, hit that subscribe button right now. Do not miss another breakdown, because the brutal reality is that texting only gets your foot in the door. You still have to show up in the real world, look her in the eyes and seal the deal.